Welcome to Audio Mentors. Today we begin a transformative journey through Jay Shetty's book Think Like a Monk. In this book, Shetty shares valuable lessons learned during his time as a monk, offering tools for living a life with more peace, purpose, and clarity. Throughout this journey, you'll learn to detach from external expectations, find balance in your daily life, and recognize the power of your thoughts. This work will provide you with a stronger mindset to face everyday challenges and follow the path to a fulfilling life. We start today, so get ready for a profound shift in your thinking and actions. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Introduction. The importance of thinking like a monk. In this first chapter of Think Like a Monk, Jay Shetty invites us to embark on a journey of profound transformation. The central concept of the book is to think like a monk, a proposal that involves adopting a mindset that is centered, calm, and focused on what truly matters. Throughout his experience as a monk in an ashram in India, Shetty discovered that true inner peace is achieved when we can silence distractions and focus on the essentials. Learning from monastic life. Shetty begins by sharing his personal experience as a monk, where he learned to become aware of his thoughts and emotions. Living surrounded by the stillness and simplicity of the ashram, Shetty discovered that mental calmness is key to living a full and purposeful life. For a monk, life is about dedicating the mind to what is true and eternal, beyond daily worries. The author invites us to bring these teachings into our modern lives, where distractions are constant and social pressures push us to live shaped by external expectations. According to Shetty, thinking like a monk means learning to look inward, without being influenced by what is outside of us. External influences and how they affect our peace. One of the main points of the chapter is how external influences affect our inner peace. Today, we are surrounded by noise, work, social media, news, the expectations of others. This constant bombardment of information and external demands leads us to live in a state of constant reaction, where we are driven by what others expect of us, rather than acting in accordance with our own values and goals. Shetty highlights that while it is natural to be influenced by our surroundings, the first step toward a life of authenticity and peace is learning to distance ourselves from those influences. By doing so, we can begin to think more clearly and make decisions aligned with our purpose, instead of following others' expectations. Space for self-reflection. The chapter also emphasizes self-reflection as an essential tool for personal growth. Thinking like a monk involves creating spaces of silence in our daily lives, where we can observe our thoughts and emotions without being swept away by them. Shetty invites us to take a pause, step away from the chaos, and look within ourselves. This space for self-reflection is crucial because it allows us to identify what truly matters and what drains our energy and distracts us from what is important. By observing our lives from a clearer perspective, we can begin to make more intentional and conscious decisions. How to manage social expectations. One of the most important topics Shetty addresses in this chapter is the impact of social expectations. We live in a world where we are constantly told how we should be, what we should have, and what we should do to be accepted or successful. Social media, the media, and the pressure from our social circles impose standards of success, happiness, and worth. Shetty reminds us that these external expectations are, in many cases, unrealistic and unsustainable. Thinking like a monk invites us to free ourselves from these pressures and live according to our own values, rather than trying to meet what others think is important. According to the author, this is fundamental for achieving a more authentic and fulfilling life. The role of the mind in personal transformation. Another key aspect of this chapter is the importance of transforming our mind. Shetty explains that it all starts in the mind. The way we think, interpret the world, and respond to circumstances has a great impact on our daily experience. If we don't take control of our thoughts, we risk being carried away by emotions and distractions, which can lead to a life of stress and confusion. The author states that while external circumstances may be out of our control, our mind is always under our control. By learning to calm the mind and focus on what truly matters, we can change our reality and live with intention. The power of mental discipline. Thinking like a monk is not just an exercise in meditation, but also in mental discipline. Shetty tells us that mental discipline is what allows us to act with clarity and concentration, without being swept away by emotional highs and lows. By creating this discipline, we can stay on course, even when external circumstances try to disorient us. One of the most effective ways to cultivate this discipline is by practicing daily meditation and self-reflection. These exercises not only help calm the mind but also provide the necessary space to listen to our inner voice and make decisions aligned with what we truly want in life. The balance between the mind and emotions. A monk does not reject emotions, but observes and manages them. Shetty encourages us to accept our emotions, but not to identify with them. Emotions are part of our human experience, but we should not let them dominate our decisions. By observing them without judgment, we can maintain balance between our mind and emotions, which allows us to make wiser and calmer decisions. Chapter Conclusion. In this first chapter, Shetty establishes the importance of cultivating a calm and focused mindset, following the example of monks, in order to live authentically and at peace with oneself. Thinking like a monk does not mean withdrawing from the world, but finding balance amidst external distractions and pressures. It is a call to take control of the mind, detach from others' expectations, and live a life with purpose and clarity. Chapter 2. Avoid external and internal influences. In this chapter, Jay Shetty explores the importance of eliminating external and internal influences that affect our daily lives. He encourages us to question the sources from which we receive information and validation so that we can reclaim our personal power and find inner peace. Shetty explains that many of our decisions, thoughts, and emotions come from factors outside our control, which can lead us to lose our authenticity. The author suggests that only through conscious effort can we free ourselves from these influences to achieve a more authentic and fulfilling life. External influences. Shetty starts the chapter by focusing on external influences, which are the pressures coming from society, social media, the media, and others' expectations. We live in a world where we are continuously surrounded by opinions, information, and judgments that tell us how we should behave, what we should have, how we should look, or even how we should think. This constant exposure to external information can create a cloud of distractions that prevents us from making decisions based on our own values. The author also highlights that social media plays a central role in this process. The idealized perception of other people's lives can make us feel dissatisfied with our own. Shetty states that the biggest challenge of living in the digital age is that we are continuously comparing ourselves to others, which can generate stress and anxiety. Often, we try to meet a standard that isn't ours, leading us to lose our authenticity and purpose. To protect our mental peace and emotional well-being, Shetty proposes disconnecting from this constant flow of information that doesn't add value to our lives. Eliminating or reducing external influences does not mean withdrawing from the world, but rather learning to manage social expectations and filter what truly deserves our attention. This allows us to reduce the noise that affects our ability to make conscious decisions aligned with our values. The importance of detachment. One of the key concepts Shetty introduces is detachment, especially in relation to external validation. Detachment does not mean isolating oneself from others, but rather freeing ourselves from the need for approval. We live in a society where external validation, whether through likes on social media, others' opinions, or compliments, often determines how we perceive ourselves. Shetty invites us to reflect on how our decisions and actions are often influenced by what others think of us. By letting go of this need for validation, we can begin to live more authentically, acting not according to what others expect of us, but by what we truly want. Detachment also involves letting go of our expectations of how things should be. Life rarely unfolds according to our plans, and emotional flexibility is key to accepting uncertainty without losing our peace. Shetty emphasizes that learning to let go and not cling to others' expectations is essential for living a life of purpose and authenticity. Internal influences. The chapter continues by analyzing internal influences, which are our own beliefs, thoughts, and emotions. Often, we focus on external pressures, but the limiting beliefs we have internalized since childhood, from our culture, and from our past experiences can have an even greater impact. These beliefs, which we often don't question, tell us things like, "I'm not good enough," "I don't deserve success," or "I'll never be able to change." Shetty points out that these limiting beliefs come from external sources, such as the opinions of our parents, friends, or teachers, but they are also fed by our own experiences and traumas. Recognizing and questioning these beliefs is essential to freeing ourselves from them and starting to build a new narrative based on what we are truly capable of doing. One of the strategies Shetty suggests for overcoming these internal influences is practicing positive self-talk. By changing the way we speak to ourselves, we can start reprogramming our minds and eliminating self-limiting thoughts. For example, instead of thinking "I'm not good enough," we can replace it with "I am in the process of growing and improving." This shift in internal language transforms our mindset and allows us to make decisions based on self-acceptance and confidence in our abilities. Replacing negative thoughts with positive thoughts. Negative thinking is another internal influence that can be devastating to our mental peace. Shetty describes how self-criticism and pessimistic thoughts not only affect our emotional state, but also hinder our ability to act. Negative thoughts can block our creativity, productivity, and confidence, preventing us from reaching our goals. One strategy Shetty recommends is practicing daily gratitude. The exercise of writing 3 things we are grateful for each day helps us focus our minds on what we already have and the blessings in our lives, rather than focusing on what we lack. By focusing on the positive, we activate areas in the brain related to emotional well-being, which reduces the impact of negative thoughts. The power of the mind in the process of change. Shetty emphasizes that the human mind is incredibly powerful and plastic. Neuroscience has shown that the brain can be reprogrammed with the constant practice of new habits and thoughts. If we learn to manage our emotions, thoughts, and beliefs, we can take control of our lives and create the future we desire. The process of mental change begins with awareness and discipline. Shetty recommends that salespeople, entrepreneurs, or anyone desiring significant change begin by reflecting on their limiting beliefs and thoughts, then actively working to change them. Self-discipline in thinking is the key to modifying our reality and achieving inner peace. Chapter conclusion. This chapter underscores that, while external influences such as social expectations and social media are important, internal influences are what truly shape our experience. Detaching from external pressures and freeing ourselves from internal limiting beliefs is essential for attaining mental peace and living according to our own values. Shetty encourages us to question our beliefs, replace negative thoughts with more positive ones, and practice gratitude, all of which will help us build a more authentic and focused life. Chapter 3. The need to create space for self-reflection. In this chapter, Jay Shetty emphasizes the importance of self-reflection as a fundamental tool for living a fuller and more purposeful life. Shetty explains that in today's world, we are constantly busy and distracted by external demands, making it difficult to find time and space to reflect on our lives, our decisions, and our direction. This chapter is a call to stop, look inward, and make the conscious effort to understand who we are, what we want, and what we need. The importance of self-reflection. Shetty begins this chapter by highlighting that self-reflection is not merely an empty exercise of introspection, but a powerful tool for clarifying our priorities, evaluating our actions, and ensuring that we are aligned with our values. Conscious reflection helps us uncover patterns of thought and behavior that we may not have noticed before and that prevent us from living authentically. Living in a world that values constant productivity, Shetty points out that we often forget the importance of stopping and thinking. Without time to think and analyze our decisions, we get swept along by the flow of daily life without questioning whether we are truly walking in the right direction. Self-reflection gives us the opportunity to take a breath and ask ourselves whether what we are doing today is building the life we truly want. The power of a clear mind. Shetty reminds us that a mind that never stops to reflect is like a turbulent river, full of noise and distraction. Self-reflection is key to clarifying our mind, allowing us to separate fleeting emotions from rational thoughts. By creating space for mental calm, we can make better decisions and act from a place of inner wisdom, not impulsiveness. The author emphasizes that by dedicating time to reflection, we give ourselves the opportunity to review our values and goals. Are we living according to them? Are we truly being honest with ourselves about what we want from life? Reflection allows us to make adjustments if necessary and redirect ourselves toward a life more aligned with our deepest desires. Practices for self-reflection. Shetty proposes several practices that we can incorporate into our daily lives to foster self-reflection. Some of the most important include personal journaling. Writing regularly in a journal is one of the best ways to reflect on oneself. Shetty encourages readers to write about their thoughts and emotions each day. This not only helps release tension but also allows us to see patterns we may not have noticed in our daily lives. By writing, we can explore our beliefs, fears, and desires and discover how they are shaping our decisions. The author also recommends writing about the lessons learned each day, which helps us see the progress we've made and reaffirm our learnings. Writing becomes a way to observe our evolution over time. Daily meditation. Shetty underscores that meditation is one of the most powerful tools for achieving a clear and calm mind. Through meditation, we can observe our thoughts without judgment and learn to let them go. Regular meditation practice not only calms stress but also provides space for inner reflection. By meditating, we can listen to our inner voice and connect with our inner wisdom. 3. The practice of asking deep questions. Shetty also suggests that we ask ourselves deep and powerful questions, such as, am I living in alignment with my values? What do I really want in life? Or, am I being honest with myself? These types of questions open the door to reflection and help us evaluate our decisions and direction in life. For time in solitude. The author emphasizes the importance of spending time alone without distractions in order to listen to our own thoughts. In today's society, we are surrounded by noise, so spending time without interruptions helps us reconnect with ourselves. This time alone allows our ideas and emotions to clear, creating space for genuine self-reflection. How self-reflection improves our lives. Shetty explains that self-reflection is not only a practice for personal growth but also a catalyst for positive change in our lives. When we stop to think deeply about our life, our goals, and our relationships, we can identify areas that need attention and make adjustments that bring us closer to our purpose. Moreover, self-reflection also strengthens our self-awareness and helps us become more compassionate toward ourselves. Through this process, we learn to be less critical and more kind to our imperfections. Accepting ourselves as we are is essential for our emotional health and mental well-being. The importance of daily habits. The chapter also emphasizes that self-reflection should not be seen as an isolated activity but as a daily practice. By integrating reflection into our daily routine, Shetty teaches us that we can achieve a better connection with ourselves and others. Reflection, meditation, and writing practices should become habits that strengthen our mind and heart. Chapter conclusion. This chapter reminds us that in order to live a fulfilling and authentic life, we need to create space to stop and reflect on our lives. Self-reflection is the first step to understanding what we truly want, what we need to let go of, and what we need to work on to reach our fullest potential. By integrating self-reflection practices into our daily lives, we can begin to live with more clarity, intention, and purpose. Shetty concludes the chapter by encouraging us to take the time to sit with our emotions and thoughts, without rush or distractions. It is only in this space of silence and calm that we can truly connect with who we are and make the necessary adjustments to live a more authentic and centered life. Chapter 4. How to Identify Your Personal Values. In this chapter, Jay Shetty leads us through a profound self-discovery exercise, identifying our personal values. Shetty explains that our values are the core beliefs that guide our decisions, behaviors, and relationships. Identifying these values is key to living a life that is aligned with our true self and purpose. Instead of being swept away by external expectations, we must be aware of what truly matters to us, what gives us meaning and fulfillment in life. What are personal values? Shetty begins by defining what personal values are. They are the principles, beliefs, and attitudes that form the foundation of our identity and influence the way we act, think, and relate to the world. Our values reflect what we consider important in life, what gives us direction, and what motivates us to move forward. Some examples of personal values are honesty, respect, love, responsibility, compassion, family, freedom, and personal growth. However, Shetty emphasizes that each person has their own unique list of values, and there is no fixed set that everyone must follow. What matters is knowing our values and living according to them. The impact of living without clear values. Shetty points out that when we lack clarity about our values, we feel lost or disconnected from what we truly desire in life. Often, this happens because we are so absorbed by external demands and social expectations that we lose sight of what truly matters to us. When we do not live in accordance with our values, we tend to experience stress, anxiety, and confusion. The disconnect between what we say we value and what we actually do creates a sense of emptiness. The importance of authenticity. One of the central themes of this chapter is the importance of being authentic. Shetty reminds us that our personal values are the key to being authentic and living a life aligned with our true essence. When we live according to our values, we feel more fulfilled, empowered, and at peace with ourselves. Authenticity allows us to act with confidence and clarity, knowing that our decisions and actions are supported by what we truly value. How to discover your personal values. Shetty provides a set of practical exercises to help us identify our personal values. Here are some of the key steps he proposes. 1. Deep reflection. The first step in identifying our values is to take the time to deeply reflect on what truly matters in our lives. Shetty recommends asking questions like, what things make me feel most fulfilled? What motivates me to get up each day? What aspects of life bring me joy and gratitude? This reflection helps us connect with the experiences and moments in our lives that have given us a deep sense of purpose. By doing this, we begin to identify patterns in what we truly value. 2. Explore meaningful moments. Shetty suggests thinking about moments in our lives that have left a lasting impact. When have you felt most proud of yourself? In which moments have you felt your actions aligned with your deepest principles? These moments can offer important clues about the values that guide our lives. 3. Identify examples of people we admire. Another valuable exercise is to think about the people we admire. What qualities or behaviors of these people attract us the most? Perhaps we admire someone for their honesty, their dedication to work, their compassion, or their ability to remain calm under stress. By identifying the qualities we appreciate in others, we can uncover the values that resonate most deeply with us. 4. Prioritize your values. Once we've identified a list of important values, Shetty invites us to prioritize them. It's likely that there are several values we consider important, but some may carry more weight than others in our lives. Which of these values guide your daily decisions the most? By prioritizing our values, we can clarify which ones are most important in our lives and which should be at the core of our actions. 5. Visualization and affirmations. Shetty also recommends using visualization and affirmations to solidify our values. Visualization involves imagining ourselves living a life based on those values. What would your life look like if you made decisions based on your honesty, generosity, or respect for others? By visualizing these actions, we create a mental roadmap that motivates us to live in alignment with our principles. Affirmations, on the other hand, help reinforce those values by repeating them in our minds throughout the day. Living according to your values. Once we know our values, Shetty emphasizes that the next step is to live in congruence with them. It's not just about having clarity on what we value, but about acting in alignment with those values in every area of our life, our relationships, work, and everyday decisions. Living according to our values gives us a sense of integrity and helps us stay firm, even in difficult times. Shetty highlights that living according to our values doesn't mean we won't face challenges or moments of doubt. However, when we align with what truly matters to us, we find more strength and reasons to keep moving forward. Chapter conclusion. In this chapter, Shetty guides us to discover our personal values, which are the foundation upon which we can build a fulfilling and authentic life. By becoming aware of our values, we can start living with purpose and making decisions that bring us closer to our true essence. The key to living a meaningful life lies in identifying what truly matters to us and building our lives around those principles. Shetty invites us to ongoing self-reflection, to regularly review whether our actions are still aligned with our deepest values, and to ensure we are building a life that is in line with what we truly value. Chapter 5. Depersonalizing Rejection and Learning from Failure. In this chapter, Jay Shetty invites us to rethink our relationship with rejection and failure. For many people, personal rejection and failure are sources of emotional pain that deeply affect our self-esteem and confidence. However, Shetty teaches us how to depersonalize these events and see them as opportunities for growth rather than reflections of our personal worth. Rejection as a natural part of life. Shetty begins the chapter by highlighting that rejection is an inevitable part of life, especially when we take risks or try something new. We often fear rejection because we perceive it as a confirmation of our inadequacy. However, Shetty reminds us that rejection has nothing to do with our personal worth. It is simply a response to a specific situation or circumstance. The author uses real-world examples to show how prominent public figures and successful leaders faced setbacks and rejections on their way to success. These moments did not define them. On the contrary, they became stepping stones to their achievements. Learning to accept rejection without viewing it as a threat to our identity is a crucial step toward personal growth. Failure does not define who you are. Shetty introduces the idea that failure is a learning opportunity. Instead of seeing failure as something that defines us as failures, we should start viewing it as part of the process that teaches us valuable lessons. Failure is simply a temporary event and does not reflect our intrinsic worth. The author makes a powerful analogy, comparing failure to a testing lab where mistakes are simply experiments that help us find the best solution. This approach encourages us not to get stuck in the pain of failure but to learn from it and move forward. Instead of blaming ourselves or feeling discouraged, we can use those experiences as stepping stones to success. Depersonalizing rejection. Shetty emphasizes that one of the most effective ways to deal with rejection is to depersonalize it. Rejection, whether in a relationship, at work, or in a social situation, is often taken as a personal judgment. However, when we see rejection as something that happens due to circumstances or compatibility rather than a reflection of our worth as individuals, we can maintain a healthier perspective. Rejection can be caused by countless external factors that have nothing to do with our ability or personality. For example, a client may reject an offer for reasons unrelated to our approach or product, or a relationship may end due to life differences that don't reflect our personal qualities. By separating rejection from our personal value, we begin to protect our self-esteem and free ourselves from the fear of rejection. Transforming fear of failure into motivation. Shetty suggests that one of the most powerful changes we can make is transforming the fear of failure into motivation to improve. The fear of failure can paralyze us, but if we reframe it as an opportunity to learn and grow, we can find power in it. Shetty proposes that, instead of fearing failure, we should face it head-on and see it as a lesson. Every failure is an opportunity for self-knowledge, allowing us to adjust our approaches and improve our methods. The importance of emotional resilience. A central theme in this chapter is emotional resilience. Shetty points out that resilience is not something we are born with, but something that develops through experience and practice. Emotional resilience allows us to bounce back quickly from setbacks and maintain our motivation even when facing obstacles. To cultivate resilience, Shetty suggests practicing self-compassion. Instead of being harsh on ourselves when we make mistakes, we should be kind and patient, treating ourselves with the same empathy we would extend to a friend facing difficulties. This attitude allows us to learn from our failures without getting caught up in destructive self-criticism. The growth mindset. Shetty introduces the growth mindset as one of the keys to overcoming rejection and failure. People with a growth mindset believe that their abilities and competencies are not fixed but can improve over time and with effort. On the other hand, those with a fixed mindset believe that their abilities are immutable, which can make them more prone to feeling defeated by failure. Developing a growth mindset allows us to see rejection not as a sign of our incapacity, but as a sign that we need to keep learning and evolving. By adopting this mindset, we can take setbacks as opportunities to improve, not as reflections of our lack of talent or worth. The value of perseverance. In this chapter, Shetty also speaks about the importance of persevering despite failures and rejections. Perseverance is one of the most important characteristics of successful people. Instead of giving up at the first sign of failure, perseverance allows us to move forward and stay committed to our goals. Shetty shares stories of people who faced great failures before achieving success. For example, Thomas Edison, who failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb, or J.K. Rowling, who received multiple rejections before the world knew Harry Potter. These examples illustrate how failure is not the end of the road but simply another step toward success. Chapter Conclusion. In this chapter, Shetty offers us a new perspective on rejection and failure. Instead of seeing them as threats to our identity, we should learn to depersonalize them, view them as learning opportunities, and move forward with a growth mindset. Rejection and failure are inevitable, but they do not have to define us. By cultivating emotional resilience and perseverance, we can turn these challenging moments into stepping stones to success. Chapter 6. The Importance of Self-Discipline. In this chapter, Jay Shetty discusses self-discipline as one of the most powerful tools for living a purposeful, consistent, and successful life. Through his experience as a monk, Shetty learned that discipline is not only crucial for achieving goals but is also the key to maintaining mental and emotional balance in a world full of distractions. Discipline as the foundation of growth. Shetty emphasizes that self-discipline is essential for creating healthy habits that bring us closer to our long-term goals. For many people, the lack of discipline can lead to unnecessary stress or lack of progress, as we live in a society that constantly distracts us from what is truly important. Discipline allows us to focus on what really matters, organize our priorities, and execute plans consistently without being swept away by the immediacy of momentary gratifications. Shetty emphasizes that discipline does not mean living a rigid or inflexible life, but rather developing a structure that allows us to have control over our mind and actions, even when external life is full of uncertainties. How discipline helps us make decisions aligned with our values. One of the key points of this chapter is how discipline serves as a fundamental pillar for making decisions that are aligned with our personal values. The lack of discipline can lead us to act impulsively, guided by temporary emotions or external influences, while discipline gives us the ability to make conscious choices based on what we truly value in life. Shetty explains that self-discipline is what enables us to do the things we need to do, even when we don't feel like it or when circumstances challenge us. It is the ability to make decisions that bring us closer to our goals, even when immediate results are not visible or when temptations surround us. The relationship between discipline and freedom. Often, when we think of discipline, we associate it with something restrictive or that limits our freedom. However, Shetty points out that, in fact, discipline is the key to lasting freedom. By maintaining discipline in our daily lives, we create positive habits that free us from procrastination, stress, and distractions that keep us trapped in inefficient patterns. Shetty uses the analogy of an artist who, despite having great talent, needs discipline to perfect their skill. Discipline not only allows the artist to create a masterpiece, but it also gives them the freedom to express their creativity without the limitations of mental clutter or lack of focus. Developing self-discipline. The author provides several practical tips for starting to develop self-discipline in our lives. Set clear and achievable goals. Shetty suggests that the first step toward a disciplined life is to clearly define our goals. Goals should be specific, measurable, and achievable so that we can track our progress and stay motivated. By setting clear goals, our discipline has a purpose and a clear direction, making it easier to make daily decisions. Create a daily routine. One of the best ways to foster self-discipline is to create a daily routine. This doesn't mean filling our day with activities, but rather establishing key habits that help us move toward our goals. Shetty recommends incorporating practices like meditation, physical exercise, and reflection time into the daily routine, as these activities not only provide structure but also strengthen our minds. Overcome procrastination. Shetty also addresses procrastination as one of the biggest enemies of discipline. Procrastination arises when we postpone important tasks due to fear, lack of motivation, or lack of clarity. Shetty recommends the 5-minute method, committing to working on a task for just 5 minutes a day. This small commitment helps break the procrastination cycle and, over time, becomes a consistent habit. Self-motivation. Staying disciplined also requires self-motivation. For this, Shetty suggests celebrating small achievements and recognizing the progress we make each day. Motivation is a temporary boost, but discipline is based on consistent habits. By focusing on the process and long-term benefits, we can stay motivated even when results are not immediate. Overcoming obstacles to discipline. Shetty acknowledges that, even with the best planning, there will always be obstacles that test our discipline. However, what matters is how we react to those obstacles. Instead of giving up in the face of difficulty, we must learn to adapt, learn from failures, and move forward with determination. Shetty highlights that discipline is not a fixed trait but something that develops over time. Every time we make disciplined decisions, our ability to be disciplined grows, and every success, no matter how small, reinforces our self-confidence. The reward of self-discipline. The chapter concludes with an emphasis on the reward that self-discipline brings to our lives. When we live with discipline, we create a life that reflects our deepest values and most ambitious goals. The freedom that comes from having a disciplined mind allows us to act with intention and purpose, bringing us closer to the life we truly desire. Shetty reminds us that discipline is not just about doing things right, but about living in accordance with what truly matters in the long run. Through self-discipline, we can transform our lives in profound and meaningful ways. Chapter 7. Learning to meditate and finding mental peace. In this chapter, Jay Shetty guides us toward the practice of meditation, an essential tool that monks use to achieve mental peace and develop clarity in their lives. Shetty teaches us that meditation is not only a spiritual practice but also an effective strategy for improving our emotional well-being, reducing stress, and increasing our concentration. The power of meditation. Shetty explains that meditation has a profound impact on our mind and body. By meditating, we not only reduce negative thoughts and anxiety, but we also create space for our mind to recharge and focus on what truly matters. In a world full of noise and distractions, meditation helps us create a calm space where we can connect with our inner self and make decisions from a place of clarity. According to Shetty, meditation is a way to reprogram our mind, breaking free from the automatic thought patterns that often lead to anxiety and procrastination. By practicing it regularly, we can train our mind to focus on what is important, detach from intense emotions, and find lasting peace. How meditation changes the brain. One of the most fascinating points Shetty addresses in this chapter is the impact of meditation on the brain. Neuroscience has shown that regular meditation changes the brain's structure in a positive way. For example, studies have shown that meditation can increase the thickness of the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain associated with rational thinking, decision-making, and emotional regulation. Additionally, meditation helps reduce the size of the amygdala, which is responsible for intense emotions such as fear and stress. Shetty emphasizes that by meditating, we are literally training our brain to respond calmly to difficult situations, instead of reacting impulsively. This allows us to make wiser decisions and maintain our inner peace in the face of life's challenges. The meditation process. The author also provides a step-by-step guide on how to start meditating, especially for those who have never practiced meditation. Shetty suggests that at first, meditation may feel uncomfortable because our minds are used to distraction and restlessness. However, with regular practice, meditation becomes a tool that strengthens and calms us. Steps to begin meditating. Find a quiet place. The first step is to find a place where you can be quiet and free from distractions. This could be a corner of your home, a spot in the park, or anywhere you feel comfortable and at peace. Sit in a comfortable posture. You don't need to be in a specific position, but it is important that your posture is comfortable. You can sit in a chair, on the floor, or even on a cushion. Make sure your back is straight and relaxed. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. Shetty recommends starting meditation with deep breaths. Inhale slowly through your nose, feel the air filling your body, and then exhale gently. Focus on your breath and allow your mind to relax. Observe your thoughts. As you meditate, it's natural for your mind to be filled with thoughts. Instead of fighting them, Shetty encourages us to observe them without judgment. Think of your thoughts as clouds in the sky, coming and going without the need to cling to them. Return your attention to your breath. Whenever your mind wanders, simply bring your attention back to your breath. Don't get frustrated if your mind drifts, just observe and refocus. This process of returning to the breath is what strengthens your concentration. Meditate for a few minutes each day. Shetty recommends starting with short meditations, 5 to 10 minutes, and gradually increasing the time. The important thing is to be consistent and make meditation a daily practice. The benefits of meditation. Shetty lists several benefits of meditation, not only for the mind but also for the body and relationships. Some of the most notable benefits include stress reduction. Meditation activates the body's relaxation system, lowering cortisol levels, the stress hormone, and promoting an overall sense of calm. Increased mental clarity. By practicing meditation, we can eliminate mental noise and make clearer, more conscious decisions. Improved emotional health. Meditation helps increase emotional resilience by allowing us to manage our emotions more balanced. Better interpersonal relationships. By being more centered and calm, we become more empathetic and compassionate, which enhances our relationships with others. Development of self-compassion. Meditation helps us accept and love ourselves as we are, eliminating excessive self-criticism and comparison with others. Meditation and spiritual connection. While meditation has numerous benefits for the mind and body, Shetty also addresses how the practice of meditation helps us connect with the spiritual. For many monks, meditation is a means of achieving greater awareness and connection with the divine. Shetty does not limit meditation to just a religious practice, but presents it as a tool to connect with our true nature and find peace within. Conclusion of the chapter. The chapter ends with a reminder that meditation is not an exclusive practice for monks or people with unlimited time. We can all benefit from dedicating a few minutes each day to calm our minds and connect with ourselves. Shetty emphasizes that consistency is key. Even small daily meditation sessions can have a profound impact on our mental peace, clarity, and our ability to face daily challenges. Meditation is a gift for our mind, a way to find balance, and a tool to live more consciously and focused. Chapter 8: How to Make Decisions Aligned with Your Values. In this chapter, Jay Shetty delves into the process of making decisions in ways that align with our personal values. Shetty teaches us that the decisions we make in life are key to living with purpose and authenticity. The way we choose to act, how we spend our time, and who we associate with should always align with what we truly value. However, in today's world, filled with distractions and external pressures, making decisions aligned with our values can be a challenge. This chapter provides strategies to help us make wise decisions that are consistent with what truly matters. The challenge of making consistent decisions. Shetty begins by highlighting how we live in a world where external pressures, such as social expectations, the infinite options provided by modern life, and the opinions of others, can divert our attention from what we truly want. The daily decisions we make may seem small or insignificant, but together, they define our life. The problem arises when those decisions are not aligned with our core values, which can lead to feelings of disconnection or dissatisfaction. Shetty encourages us to evaluate how we make decisions and reflect on whether those choices are influenced by external factors or if we are truly making decisions from a place of authenticity. According to the author, the highest form of wisdom is when our actions align with what we genuinely believe. Connecting with your personal values. The first step in making decisions aligned with our values is to identify those values. Shetty reiterates what he mentioned in a previous chapter: our personal values are the foundation of our decisions. They are the fundamental principles that guide our actions and reflect what truly matters to us. Once we have clarity about what we value, such as honesty, family, love, personal growth, etc., Shetty suggests that we should practice those values every day. By doing so, we ensure that our decisions are not only based on what is easiest or most convenient, but on what we truly want to build in our lives. The importance of pausing before deciding. One strategy Shetty recommends for making more conscious decisions is to learn to pause before making an important choice. The fast pace of modern life often leads us to make impulsive decisions or act based on social pressure. Taking a moment of silence and reflection can be transformative. When pausing, Shetty suggests asking ourselves, is this decision aligned with my values? Am I choosing what I truly want or what others expect of me? This brief moment of reflection allows us to make wiser and less impulsive decisions. The three-step question technique. Shetty introduces a powerful tool called the three-step question, which helps us ensure our decisions are aligned with our values and purpose. The 3 steps are as follows. Does this bring me closer to my purpose? Before making a decision, ask yourself if what you're about to do brings you closer to your life's purpose. Is this decision aligned with what you truly want to achieve in life? If the answer is yes, then it's the right decision. Does this reflect my values? This step leads us to assess whether our choice is in harmony with our values. If we make a decision based on honesty and transparency, but the decision goes against those principles, we should reconsider. How will I feel after making this decision? This step is an exercise in introspection. Imagine how you'll feel once you've made the decision. Will you feel at peace with it? Or will you regret it? If the decision doesn't bring you satisfaction or peace in the long run, it may be a sign that it's not aligned with what you truly value. Growth mindset and decisions. Shetty explains that, at times, we may make decisions that initially seem to go against our beliefs or values, but over time, allow us to learn and grow. He refers to this as the growth mindset. Sometimes, what we think we want is not what we truly need to develop. The author emphasizes that making decisions that challenge our beliefs and push us out of our comfort zone can be essential for personal growth. However, as long as those decisions are made with the intention of growth and not due to external pressure or fear of failure, we are moving in the right direction. Fear of uncertainty and decision-making. One of the biggest obstacles to making decisions aligned with our values is the fear of uncertainty. Often, the fear of the unknown or the potential consequences of our decisions paralyzes us. Shetty invites us to accept that life is inherently uncertain and that part of living authentically is embracing this uncertainty. When making bold decisions, experiencing uncertainty is inevitable. However, Shetty reminds us that this fear should not stop us from making significant choices. Instead, we must learn to trust our intentions and act from a place of wisdom and values. Building a support system for better decision-making. Shetty emphasizes the importance of surrounding ourselves with people who support our decisions and share our values. The relationships we cultivate can greatly influence the decisions we make. By having a support system of people who understand us and encourage us to live according to our values, we can feel more confident and focused when making difficult decisions. The author also encourages us to seek mentors or role models who live according to the principles we admire. These mentors can provide valuable perspectives and guide us toward decisions that are consistent with what truly matters. Chapter conclusion. In this chapter, Shetty reminds us that decisions are a reflection of what we value most in life. Making decisions aligned with our values requires self-awareness, courage, and mental discipline. By pausing to reflect, using the 3-step question, and embracing uncertainty, we can make decisions that not only bring us closer to our goals but also allow us to live a life of purpose and authenticity. This chapter encourages us to be brave in making decisions based on our values, trust our instincts and ongoing learning, and surround ourselves with a support system that respects our beliefs. Chapter 9. Detachment, the key to fearless decision-making. In this chapter, Jay Shetty explores the concept of detachment as a fundamental tool for making fearless decisions. Detachment is essential not only for making clearer and wiser decisions but also for living a fuller life that is less conditioned by expectations or the fear of loss. Shetty invites us to learn how to let go of control over outcomes, which frees us from fear and allows us to make decisions based on what truly matters to us. The concept of detachment. Shetty begins this chapter by defining what detachment means. In its simplest form, detachment is the ability to emotionally release ourselves from the outcomes of our decisions, projects, and relationships. It is not about indifference but about focusing on the process rather than the final result. Detachment allows us to act from a place of authenticity and confidence without being controlled by fear or anxiety about what might happen. Detachment does not mean giving up or not putting in effort. On the contrary, it involves giving our best and then letting go of control over the results, allowing things to take their course without clinging to specific expectations. Fear of failure and attachment to outcomes. Shetty points out that one of the main obstacles we face when making decisions is the fear of failure. This fear often stems from our attachment to outcomes. We worry so much about the final result that we hesitate to make bold or risky decisions. The fear of failure makes us cling to control and prevents us from acting freely. According to Shetty, detachment helps us free ourselves from this fear and act with confidence. By letting go of our attachment to the result, we allow ourselves to make fearless decisions, knowing that the correct action is valuable in itself, regardless of what happens next. Detachment in relationships. An important aspect of detachment, according to Shetty, is applying it in our personal relationships. Often, we become so attached to people, outcomes, or expectations of them that this distorts our interactions and creates anxiety. Detachment in relationships involves accepting people as they are without trying to control them or force them to be what we want them to be. By practicing detachment in our relationships, we learn to accept others' imperfections and live in the present without clinging to what could or should happen. This allows us to enjoy authentic and liberated connections without depending on expectations that may lead to frustration. How detachment improves our decisions. Shetty explains that detachment also improves the quality of our decisions. When we are overly attached to a specific outcome, our decisions tend to be emotional and driven by fear of failure or the desire to please others. Detachment, on the other hand, helps us make more rational and balanced decisions. It allows us to evaluate a situation objectively without the intense emotions that can cloud our judgment. Detachment also gives us the ability to accept uncertainty. Instead of obsessing over details and outcomes, we learn to trust the process and do our best without worrying excessively about what lies ahead. This approach reduces stress and allows us to make clearer and more focused decisions. Detachment and control. Shetty emphasizes that one of the greatest challenges is the fear of losing control. We live in a society that values having absolute control over our lives, projects, and relationships. However, this desire for control is the root of many of our fears and anxieties. The practice of detachment teaches us to let go of excessive control and accept that some things are beyond our reach. Detachment allows us to release control over what we cannot change and gives us the space to act more freely and effectively. Instead of worrying about every detail or possible outcome, we can focus on what we can control: our actions, attitudes, and decisions. Detachment in work and professional life. Shetty also addresses how detachment can be applied in our professional lives. Often, we become obsessed with financial results, professional success, or the recognition of others. This attachment to outcomes can lead to stress and burnout as we constantly seek external validation. Detachment in work means focusing on the process, continuous learning, and the intrinsic satisfaction of doing a good job without relying on external approval. When we adopt this mindset, our work shifts from being a source of stress to being a source of fulfillment. How to practice detachment in daily life. Shetty offers several daily practices to incorporate detachment into our lives. These include focusing on the present. Practicing detachment requires centering ourselves in the here and now. We should not worry about the future or dwell on the past. The present is the only moment we truly have. Accepting what we cannot control. Accepting that some things, such as others' reactions or the outcomes of our efforts, are beyond our control allows us to release anxiety and focus on what we can change. Practicing gratitude. Gratitude is a form of detachment. By focusing on what we have instead of what we lack, we learn to appreciate the process and let go of attachment to material results. Letting go of expectations. Releasing expectations about how things should be allows us to accept life as it is, with its imperfections and surprises. Chapter conclusion. In this chapter, Shetty teaches us that detachment does not mean indifference or giving up. Instead, it means freeing ourselves from the fear and anxiety that come with being attached to outcomes. By practicing detachment, we learn to live more freely, authentically, and satisfactorily. This approach not only improves our decision-making but also brings us peace of mind and emotional balance. Detachment liberates us from control and allows us to focus on what truly matters, enabling us to make decisions with clarity and confidence. It gives us the ability to flow with life without being tied to specific outcomes and to enjoy the process of becoming who we truly are. Chapter 10. The Connection Between Fear and Social Expectations. In this chapter, Jay Shetty explores how social expectations create deep-seated fears that influence our decisions and daily lives. The author helps us understand how this social fear makes us feel like we are not meeting society's standards and how it can lead us away from our true nature and desires. Shetty invites us to reflect on how external pressures affect our ability to live authentically and make decisions aligned with our values. Social expectations and fear of judgment. Shetty begins the chapter by discussing how social expectations push us to live according to what society expects of us rather than what we genuinely want. These expectations may come from our parents, friends, colleagues, or even social media, which impose an image of success, happiness, and fulfillment. The constant pressure to meet these external standards leads to fear and anxiety as we worry about failing to meet those ideals. Fear of social judgment is one of the most common forms of emotional fear in modern society. Shetty reminds us that the fear of what others think can compromise our authenticity, causing us to conform to others' expectations and lose sight of what we truly desire. The trap of external validation. One of the primary reasons we fall into the trap of social expectations is our need for external validation. Shetty points out that we often feel dissatisfied because we are not receiving the validation we seek from others. Whether through praise, recognition, or approval, we constantly seek external validation as a measure of our worth and success. However, this pursuit of external validation keeps us trapped in a cycle of comparison and dissatisfaction. Social media, in particular, has amplified this need for validation by constantly showing us the idealized lives of others, making us feel like we are not doing enough or that our lives are not good enough. The price of living for others. Shetty emphasizes that living to meet others' expectations comes with a high emotional cost. When we constantly fear not being accepted or failing to meet social standards, we can experience stress and anxiety. This also prevents us from living authentically and making decisions aligned with our personal values and desires. The emotional cost of this fear is immense, as our authenticity and emotional well-being become subordinated to external expectations. The author invites us to reflect on the harm we cause ourselves when we prioritize others' expectations over our own happiness and satisfaction. We become slaves to others' opinions, making it difficult to make decisions from a place of autonomy and inner confidence. Living without fear of judgment. Shetty encourages us to free ourselves from the fear of judgment and make decisions without being conditioned by what others think of us. Detachment is key here. We must learn to let go of the need to please others and focus on staying true to ourselves. When we stop worrying about others' opinions, we begin to live more freely, making choices that reflect what we truly desire. The author suggests that one of the best ways to overcome the fear of judgment is to acknowledge it and confront it directly. Accepting that we cannot control what others think frees us from fear and allows us to act authentically, regardless of others' opinions. The power of self-compassion. Shetty highlights that self-compassion is one of the keys to freeing ourselves from the fear of social judgment. Self-compassion involves being kind to ourselves, especially when we make mistakes or feel different from others. By practicing self-compassion, we learn to accept ourselves as we are and recognize our worth without relying on external validation. Shetty explains that being more compassionate toward ourselves diminishes the power of others' criticism and judgment. We realize that our value does not depend on external approval. Instead of seeking recognition outside of ourselves, we learn to validate ourselves and act according to what truly makes us happy and fulfilled. The importance of defining personal success. A key part of the chapter is Shetty's emphasis on the need to define success on our own terms. Instead of being carried away by societal standards of success, such as wealth, fame, or social status, Shetty encourages us to think about what true success means to us. It might involve living a purposeful life, cultivating authentic relationships, or finding peace of mind. By defining success according to our own values and desires, we can make decisions that lead to a fulfilling and satisfying life without relying on others' approval. Creating space for authenticity. Shetty also discusses the importance of creating space in our lives to live authentically. This involves making conscious changes in our daily routines, such as limiting time on social media, disconnecting from external pressures, and surrounding ourselves with people who respect our decisions and support our journey toward authenticity. The author suggests practicing self-care and setting healthy boundaries with others to protect our inner peace. By doing so, we can live more freely and make decisions from a place of clarity and authenticity. Chapter Conclusion. In this chapter, Shetty reminds us that fear of social judgment is one of the primary barriers to living authentically. However, by detaching from others' expectations and focusing on our own values and desires, we can free ourselves from this fear. By practicing self-compassion and defining personal success, we can make decisions based on what truly matters and live a more fulfilling and satisfying life. This chapter serves as a powerful reminder that we must stay true to ourselves, regardless of what others think. By freeing ourselves from social pressures, we can make authentic decisions and live with confidence and purpose. Chapter 11. The Power of Gratitude and Humility. In this chapter, Jay Shetty delves into two fundamental qualities for living a balanced and fulfilling life: gratitude and humility. Shetty explains how these two virtues are essential not only for our inner peace but also for strengthening our relationships and living with purpose. Gratitude helps us appreciate what we have, while humility keeps our minds open, allows us to recognize our imperfections, and enables us to act with compassion toward others. Gratitude as a transformative force. Shetty begins this chapter by highlighting how gratitude has the power to transform our lives. We live in a world that constantly reminds us of what we lack and what we should have, but gratitude shifts that perspective. By focusing on what we already have, we can alleviate stress and anxiety and start valuing the simple, everyday things. Gratitude acts as an antidote to constant dissatisfaction and helps us appreciate the blessings present in our lives. Shetty explains that daily gratitude practice is essential for building emotional resilience. By acknowledging what is going well in our lives, even during difficult times, we can find peace and contentment. This attitude of gratitude not only makes us more positive but also has a profound impact on our physical and emotional health. How to practice gratitude. The author suggests several practical ways to incorporate gratitude into our daily lives. One of the most effective methods is through a gratitude journal, where we write down 3 things we are grateful for each day. This helps us focus on the positive and keep our minds centered on what truly matters. Shetty also encourages us to express our gratitude verbally and actively, whether by thanking the people who support us or appreciating the small things we often take for granted. This simple act of expression reinforces positive energy and deepens our connections with others. The impact of gratitude on relationships. One area where gratitude has a profound impact is our personal relationships. Shetty reminds us that gratitude should not only focus on the things we have but also on the people around us. Appreciating our loved ones, friends, and colleagues, and acknowledging their support and companionship strengthens emotional bonds and creates deeper connections. By being grateful for the people in our lives, we become more compassionate and open in our interactions, improving the quality of our relationships. Gratitude allows our relationships to be more genuine and less self-centered, as we focus on giving rather than taking. Humility as an essential virtue. Humility, according to Shetty, is the second key quality we must cultivate to live a balanced life. Humility is not about lowering or demeaning ourselves but about recognizing that we do not know everything and that there is always something new to learn. It helps us maintain an open mind and accept that, as humans, we are in a constant state of growth and evolution. Humility also involves acknowledging our limitations and mistakes without feeling ashamed of them. It reminds us that everyone is imperfect, and our shared humanity connects us with others. Humility enables us to learn from our experiences without falling into pride or arrogance. The connection between gratitude and humility. Shetty explains that gratitude and humility are deeply interconnected. Gratitude helps us recognize what we have and keeps us grounded in the present, while humility allows us to appreciate all we have received and accept that we are not solely responsible for our blessings. Practicing both virtues creates a more balanced and harmonious life, free from selfishness and arrogance. The power of humility in leadership. Shetty highlights that humility is an essential quality for leaders. Humble leaders serve others and are willing to learn from those around them. They do not see themselves as superior but as facilitators of their team's growth. Humility allows leaders to acknowledge that success is not solely the result of their efforts but the collective work and contributions of everyone involved. Humility in daily life. In our everyday lives, humility helps us become more aware of others and act with compassion. By practicing humility, we approach others with respect, without expecting anything in return. Humility enables us to listen with an open mind, appreciating that everyone has something valuable to offer. This approach fosters more authentic connections and allows us to learn and grow continuously. How to integrate gratitude and humility into daily life. Shetty offers practical steps to incorporate these two qualities into our lives. Start and end the day with gratitude. Upon waking, think of 3 things you are grateful for. At the end of the day, reflect on what happened and the blessings you received. Practice humility by learning from others. Instead of imposing your opinions, listen attentively to what others have to say and appreciate their wisdom and experiences. Make gratitude a constant habit. Take a few minutes each day to thank the people who have done something positive for you, without expecting anything in return. Review your behavior and correct it with humility. If you make a mistake, take responsibility and learn from the situation without trying to justify your actions. Chapter conclusion. In this chapter, Shetty demonstrates that gratitude and humility are 2 of the most powerful qualities for creating a more balanced, fulfilling, and connected life. These virtues allow us to appreciate what we have, learn from others, and live with authenticity and compassion. Gratitude helps us focus on the positive and enjoy what we already have, while humility keeps us open and willing to learn, avoiding the pitfalls of ego or arrogance. Together, these qualities enable us to live in alignment with our values and cultivate deeper and more authentic relationships. Chapter 12. The importance of compassion in daily life. In this chapter, Jay Shetty focuses on compassion, an essential quality for living a life full of connection and empathy. Shetty explains that by practicing compassion, we not only improve our personal relationships but also strengthen our inner peace and contribute to a more harmonious environment. Compassion involves being kind to others and ourselves. Through this chapter, Shetty invites us to make compassion a daily practice to help us navigate life's challenges with understanding and love. What is compassion? Shetty begins this chapter by defining compassion as the ability to feel the suffering of others and the desire to take action to alleviate it. It is not merely about sympathy or pity but about actively helping others overcome their difficulties. Compassion is a powerful force that fosters genuine connection between people because it allows us to look beyond superficial differences and recognize our shared humanity. Compassion also involves listening with empathy and providing emotional support when someone needs it. Instead of judging others or turning away from their suffering, compassion leads us to open our hearts and make a conscious effort to help. Self-compassion. Shetty emphasizes that compassion is not limited to others. We must also practice it toward ourselves. Often, we are harsh on ourselves, judging our mistakes and failures, which can lead to feelings of guilt and shame. Self-compassion means learning to treat ourselves with the same kindness, patience, and understanding we would extend to a good friend. When we are compassionate toward ourselves, we can accept our imperfections and learn from our mistakes without falling into destructive self-criticism. Shetty highlights that self-compassion is key to emotional healing and maintaining a healthy relationship with ourselves. Compassion as a tool for connection. Shetty explains how compassion strengthens our relationships and creates deeper bonds with others. When we are compassionate, we can better listen to others, validate their feelings, and offer support without judgment. This creates an environment where people feel valued and understood, fostering mutual trust and respect. Compassion also helps reduce conflicts and tensions in our relationships, as it allows us to approach disagreements with empathy rather than reacting out of fear or irritation. By listening with our hearts and offering understanding, we can resolve conflicts more effectively and with less resentment. The impact of compassion on the community. Shetty reminds us that compassion not only enhances our personal relationships but also profoundly impacts the community. When we act with compassion, we inspire others to do the same, creating a ripple effect of positivity. Collective compassion can transform our communities, promoting solidarity and cooperation. The author emphasizes that compassion should not be limited to those we know or those who can offer us something in return. Universal compassion invites us to extend a helping hand to those who are suffering, even if they have no direct connection to us. In doing so, we strengthen the social fabric and contribute to a more just and empathetic world. How to cultivate compassion in daily life. Shetty offers several strategies for cultivating compassion in our daily lives. Some of the most important include active listening. Compassion begins with active listening. Instead of interrupting or rushing to respond, Shetty recommends taking the time to listen attentively and empathetically. This creates a safe space where the other person feels understood. Practicing gratitude. Gratitude complements compassion. By focusing on what we have instead of what we lack, we develop a mindset of abundance and appreciation for everything around us. This attitude opens us to the suffering of others and motivates us to help. Being kind to ourselves. Self-compassion is a daily act of self-care. By being kind to ourselves, we let go of self-criticism and forgive ourselves for our mistakes. This emotional strength enables us to offer genuine compassion to others. Performing acts of kindness. Acts of kindness toward others, whether through a simple gesture or a meaningful action, are a way to cultivate compassion. Shetty suggests doing at least one act of kindness daily, without expecting anything in return. These acts strengthen our sense of connection and solidarity with others. Reflecting on others' suffering. We often focus on our own pain, but Shetty invites us to reflect on the suffering of others. By thinking about others' pain with a compassionate attitude, we can increase our empathy and make a conscious effort to help. Compassion as a path to inner peace. Shetty concludes the chapter by emphasizing that compassion not only benefits others but is also essential for our inner peace. When we act with compassion, we free ourselves from ego and the need for recognition or approval. True inner peace comes from knowing we are acting with kindness and empathy toward others without expecting anything in return. Compassion, ultimately, allows us to be more human, more connected, and happier. By practicing it every day, we find a deeper purpose and create a life filled with meaning and genuine connection with others. Chapter 13. How to let go of stress and anxiety. In this chapter, Jay Shetty addresses one of the most common and overwhelming emotions of modern life, stress and anxiety. Shetty explores how these feelings impact our mental, emotional, and physical health and offers practical strategies and approaches to free ourselves from their control. Through this chapter, we learn how to let go of stress and anxiety to live more calmly, focused, and consciously. The impact of stress and anxiety. Shetty begins by highlighting that stress and anxiety are natural bodily responses to pressure or uncertainty. However, when stress becomes chronic or anxiety constant, these emotions can severely affect our health and decision-making ability. The author explains that chronic stress can lead to physical problems such as headaches, muscle tension, insomnia, and digestive issues, and it can result in emotional exhaustion and lack of focus. Anxiety, on the other hand, can cause irrational fears and a persistent sense of insecurity, preventing us from enjoying the present moment. Shetty notes that acute stress can be helpful, preparing us to act during critical moments. However, when it becomes chronic, it deteriorates our health. Often, we fail to notice how stress builds up, affecting both our mind and body until we feel entirely drained and overwhelmed. The cycle of stress and anxiety. Shetty explains how stress and anxiety can become a negative cycle. When we experience these emotions, our minds tend to fixate on worrisome thoughts and situations, which only amplifies our discomfort. This cycle can lead to a constant state of alertness, making it difficult to relax and enjoy the present. Additionally, Shetty highlights how the fast-paced lifestyle we live in exacerbates this cycle. External demands and societal expectations leave little room for rest, creating the sense that we're never fully prepared or capable of handling what comes our way, leading to constant pressure. He also mentions how modern distractions, such as social media, work, and societal pressures, contribute to increased stress levels. In a world that demands us to always be active and connected, it becomes difficult to find moments of rest and recovery. How to let go of stress. One of the main strategies Shetty proposes for releasing stress is learning deep breathing techniques. Deep breathing has an immediate effect on the nervous system, helping to calm the mind and relax the body. Shetty teaches a breathing technique that can be practiced anytime, anywhere. Inhale deeply through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold your breath for 4 seconds. Exhale slowly through your mouth for 6 seconds. Repeat several times. This mindful breathing technique activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for relaxation and stress reduction. Shetty emphasizes that just a few minutes of mindful breathing can produce transformative effects on our emotional well-being. The power of mindfulness. Shetty introduces mindfulness as a powerful tool to manage stress and anxiety. Mindfulness involves being fully present in the moment without worrying about the past or future. By practicing mindfulness, we become more aware of our thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations, allowing us to observe stress without identifying with it. Shetty encourages incorporating mindfulness into daily activities such as walking, eating, or talking. By focusing on the present, we can break the cycle of anxiety and find moments of inner peace amidst chaos. Mindfulness practice also helps us accept situations without resistance, making it easier to reduce stress. The author suggests meditation as a way to cultivate mindfulness. Through meditation, we learn to observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment or attachment, allowing us to create distance from stress. The importance of letting go of control. A central theme in this chapter is the need to let go of control. Shetty explains that stress and anxiety often arise when we try to control things beyond our reach, such as the future or other people's actions. Excessive control leads to a constant state of worry, as we feel incapable of managing everything happening around us. Detachment as a key to overcoming stress and anxiety. Detachment, as discussed in previous chapters, is essential for overcoming this challenge. By letting go of the need to control every aspect of our lives, we free ourselves from stress and accept that, while we can't control everything, we can control our reactions and attitudes toward events. Shetty emphasizes that total control is an illusion and that living with acceptance and flexibility is the key to managing life's uncertainties. The practice of gratitude to reduce anxiety. Shetty also highlights the power of gratitude in reducing stress and anxiety. By focusing on what we already have and what is going well in our lives, we shift our mindset from scarcity to abundance. This simple practice helps us view difficult situations more positively and reduce anxiety about what we can't control. The author recommends keeping a gratitude journal to write down 3 things we're thankful for each day. Practicing gratitude consistently reprograms our minds to focus on the good instead of the negative. The importance of rest and disconnection. Shetty reminds us that rest is crucial for reducing stress and anxiety. We live in a society that values constant productivity, but both the body and mind need time to recover. He suggests taking regular breaks throughout the day, disconnecting from screens, and engaging in activities that recharge us, such as reading, walking, or simply being still. Rest not only improves our physical health but also provides the clarity needed to make informed, calm decisions without the influence of stress or anxiety. The power of action against anxiety. One of the keys to combating anxiety, according to Shetty, is taking action. Anxiety often stems from analysis paralysis, when we feel overwhelmed by the decisions we need to make and fail to act. Shetty encourages taking small steps toward our goals without waiting for everything to be perfect. By taking action, we regain a sense of control over our situation, which helps reduce anxiety. Conclusion of the chapter. This chapter offers a holistic approach to letting go of stress and anxiety. By practicing deep breathing, mindfulness, detachment, and gratitude, we can begin to free ourselves from paralyzing emotions. Additionally, by taking action and establishing habits of rest and self-care, we can reduce anxiety and cultivate a calmer, more focused mind. Shetty reminds us that while stress and anxiety are inevitable emotions, we have the power to transform and manage them more effectively by choosing conscious responses and nurturing a sense of inner peace. Chapter 14. The Power of a Positive Mind, Replacing Negative Thoughts. In this chapter, Jay Shetty explores the importance of a positive mindset and how replacing negative thoughts can profoundly impact our lives, mental health, and ability to achieve our goals. Shetty invites us to take responsibility for our thoughts and reprogram our minds to support rather than limit us. This chapter provides effective tools to cultivate a more positive mindset, freeing us from self-destructive mental patterns and fostering an optimistic view of life. The positive mind as a powerful tool. Shetty begins by explaining that the mind is an incredibly powerful tool that shapes our reality. The way we think directly impacts our emotions, decisions, and actions. If our minds are filled with negative thoughts, these will reflect in our emotions and behaviors, limiting us and reducing our ability to achieve success and happiness. The author emphasizes that having a positive mindset doesn't mean ignoring problems or life's difficulties but rather choosing to see things from a more constructive perspective. This approach allows us to find solutions instead of getting stuck in complaints or discouragement. Identifying negative thoughts. Shetty explains that the first step to changing our mindset is identifying the negative thoughts circulating in our minds. These thoughts are often automatic and affect us without our full awareness. Examples include, "I'm not good enough," "I'll never succeed," "It's too late to change," or "I don't have what it takes." The author encourages us to become more aware of our inner dialogue and to observe when limiting thoughts arise. This awareness is key to interrupting the cycle of negative thoughts and beginning to replace them with positive affirmations. Replacing negative thoughts with positive affirmations. One method Shetty recommends for transforming a negative mind is using positive affirmations. Affirmations are statements that reprogram our minds and help us develop a more optimistic mindset. For instance, instead of thinking, "I'm not capable enough," we can change it to, "I have the ability to learn and grow every day." Shetty suggests writing and repeating affirmations daily so that they become familiar to our minds, allowing us to start believing in them. Positive affirmations can boost self-confidence, motivate action, and change our perception of what we're capable of achieving. The impact of negative thoughts on our biology. One of the most intriguing points in this chapter is when Shetty discusses how negative thoughts can affect our biology. On a neurological level, our thoughts have the power to alter our brain chemistry. Repeated negative thoughts can trigger the release of hormones like cortisol, the stress hormone, keeping us in a constant state of alertness. In contrast, positive thoughts activate areas of the brain associated with well-being and calmness, leading to positive effects on our physical and emotional health. Shetty emphasizes that shifting our mindset from negative to positive not only improves our attitude but also has tangible benefits for our health and energy levels. The importance of gratitude for cultivating positive thoughts. Shetty highlights gratitude as a fundamental pillar for maintaining a positive mindset. When we focus on what's going well in our lives rather than what's lacking, we reduce our tendency to fall into negativity. Practicing daily gratitude helps shift our perspective, enabling us to see opportunities instead of obstacles and enjoy the process rather than obsessing over outcomes. The author suggests gratitude exercises where we write down at least 3 things we're grateful for at the end of each day. This practice helps us appreciate the positive aspects of life and trains our minds to see the best in every situation. The influence of people and environment on our thoughts. Another critical point Shetty addresses is how our environment and the people around us influence our mindset. The individuals we interact with have a significant impact on how we think and feel. Being surrounded by negative or pessimistic people increases the likelihood of absorbing those energies, making us more prone to negative thoughts. Shetty encourages us to be selective about the people we spend time with. Surrounding ourselves with positive individuals who inspire and uplift us is essential for maintaining a positive mindset. Additionally, creating an environment that fosters creativity, learning, and well-being, such as inspiring work or relaxation spaces, can significantly influence our mental outlook. The power of positive mental imagery. Shetty introduces visualization as another powerful tool for replacing negative thoughts. Visualization involves creating clear and positive mental images of what we want to achieve. By visualizing our goals, whether success at work, in relationships, or personal well-being, we program our minds to work toward those objectives. When combined with positive affirmations, visualization creates a powerful synergy that strengthens our mindset and prepares us to take action. Shetty reminds us that visualizing our dreams and goals can help us feel more confident and motivated to achieve them. The importance of action against negative thoughts. While positive thoughts are crucial, Shetty also emphasizes the importance of taking action toward our goals. Positive thinking should be accompanied by concrete steps toward achieving what we desire. Taking action demonstrates to our minds that we are committed to our well-being and dreams. In this way, positive thinking becomes a catalyst for action, giving us the courage and confidence to move forward, even in the face of fear or challenges. Conclusion of the chapter. In this chapter, Shetty teaches us that our mind is like a garden that needs to be nurtured with positive thoughts. If we allow negative thoughts to grow unchecked, they can affect our mental and emotional health. However, by choosing to replace those negative thoughts with positive affirmations, visualization, and gratitude practices, we can transform our minds and lives. By practicing self-compassion, surrounding ourselves with inspiring people, and taking conscious action toward our goals, we begin to live with a positive mindset that supports rather than limits us. A positive mindset not only improves our attitude and well-being but also creates the conditions necessary to achieve a more fulfilled, focused, and meaningful life. Chapter 15. How to manage time effectively. In this chapter, Jay Shetty explores the importance of managing time effectively to achieve our goals, reduce stress, and live a more purposeful life. Shetty highlights that time is one of our most valuable and limited resources, and learning to manage it wisely is essential for maintaining balance and focus. Through this chapter, Shetty provides practical strategies to make the most of our time, prioritize what truly matters, and reduce procrastination. Time as a valuable resource. Shetty begins by emphasizing that we often undervalue time. Despite being a limited and non-renewable resource, we frequently use it inefficiently, distracting ourselves with activities that don't contribute to our goals or align with our values. The author stresses that, just as we carefully manage money and other material resources, we should do the same with our time. Shetty explains that time well spent is fundamental to our happiness and success. Instead of waiting to have more time or feeling like time is slipping away, we must learn to prioritize and take control of how we use each day. The importance of prioritization. A key takeaway from this chapter is the importance of prioritization. Shetty invites us to reflect on how we spend our time. Are we dedicating time to what truly matters? Or are we consumed by tasks that drain our energy and don't align with our goals? Shetty introduces a prioritization technique based on the Eisenhower matrix. Shetty introduces the Eisenhower matrix, a prioritization technique that classifies tasks based on their urgency and importance. Tasks are divided into 4 categories. Urgent and important, tasks that must be completed immediately, e.g., resolving a crisis. Not urgent but important, tasks that help us progress toward long-term goals, e.g., planning, exercising. Urgent but not important, tasks that can be delegated or hold little real value, e.g., emails that don't require immediate attention. Not urgent and not important, tasks irrelevant to our purpose, e.g., aimlessly watching TV. By focusing on tasks that are important but not urgent, we can avoid procrastination and ensure we are making progress toward long-term goals, rather than getting caught up in activities that only seem urgent but add no real value. The art of saying no. Shetty emphasizes the importance of saying no as an essential skill for effective time management. Often we say yes to commitments, tasks, or projects that divert us from what truly matters. Learning to say no respectfully frees us from external demands and allows us to focus on what we genuinely want to achieve. The author suggests practicing mindful refusal by considering our priorities and ensuring that our time is spent on activities aligned with our goals. Saying no is not selfish but rather a responsible way to manage our time and energy. The power of planning and structure. Shetty also highlights that planning is crucial for managing time effectively. Structure and organization enable us to maximize our time, avoiding the feeling of being busy but unproductive. The author recommends establishing a daily routine that includes time for deep work, rest, and personal activities. One strategy Shetty advocates is time blocking, scheduling specific blocks of time for key activities. This proactive approach helps us prioritize important tasks and ensures we dedicate enough time to our most critical goals. The dangers of multitasking. Shetty warns about the pitfalls of multitasking. While it may seem like handling multiple tasks simultaneously boosts productivity, studies show that multitasking actually reduces efficiency and increases the likelihood of errors. The author stresses that focusing on one task at a time is far more effective, enabling us to deliver higher quality work in less time. He recommends committing to a single task, eliminating distractions, and channeling all our energy into the present activity. This approach enhances both the quality and speed of our output. The importance of rest and recharging. While productivity is essential, Shetty underscores that rest is critical for effective time management. Many of us are caught in a culture of constant productivity, but burnout only decreases efficiency. Shetty explains that rest should be seen as an integral part of our work routine. The author proposes incorporating recharge moments throughout the day, such as taking walks, meditating, or simply disconnecting. These breaks not only improve productivity but also strengthen our mental and physical health, enabling us to work more effectively when we return to our tasks. The concept of deep work. Shetty introduces the concept of deep work as a way to maximize focus and productivity. Deep work involves fully immersing yourself in a task without distractions for a sustained period. Shetty suggests scheduling dedicated time for deep work, ensuring that during this time, we are 100% focused on the task at hand. This type of work is particularly useful for tasks requiring creativity, concentration, and problem solving. By dedicating time to deep work, we can achieve more in less time, freeing up space for rest and personal activities. Conclusion of the chapter. In this chapter, Shetty teaches us that effective time management is not about being busy but about being intentional and focused on what truly matters. By prioritizing, planning, and learning to say no, we can free up time for activities that bring us closer to our goals. Additionally, by practicing deep work, avoiding multitasking, and prioritizing rest, we can enhance our productivity and live more balanced and fulfilling lives. Shetty concludes the chapter by affirming that while time is limited, how we choose to use it makes all the difference. By taking control of our time and dedicating it to what matters most, we can achieve a more productive, purposeful, and meaningful life. Chapter 16. The Practice of Emotional Resilience. In this chapter, Jay Shetty explores the importance of emotional resilience as a crucial skill for navigating life's difficulties, maintaining mental balance, and achieving personal growth. Emotional resilience involves not only overcoming the obstacles we face but also learning to adapt to them in a healthy way, without letting our emotions overwhelm us. Shetty guides us through strategies that we can apply to develop and strengthen our emotional resilience, enabling us to face life's challenges with greater strength and wisdom. What is emotional resilience? Shetty begins the chapter by explaining what it means to be emotionally resilient. Emotional resilience is the ability to quickly recover from difficult situations, manage stress effectively, and learn from challenging experiences. Instead of getting stuck in pain or suffering, emotional resilience allows us to move forward and grow from our experiences. Shetty explains that emotional resilience is not something we are born with, but rather a skill we can develop throughout our lives. Resilient people are those who, despite facing difficulties, maintain their emotional balance and adapt positively to change. Instead of succumbing to fear or anxiety, they learn to manage their emotions and find strength in times of adversity. Characteristics of emotionally resilient people. Shetty describes some key characteristics commonly found in emotionally resilient people. These include self-awareness. Resilient people are very aware of their emotions and how these affect their behavior. They know when they are feeling stress, anxiety, or sadness, and can manage these emotions effectively. Adaptability. Emotional resilience involves adapting to new circumstances without falling into despair. Resilient people have a flexible mindset and are willing to adjust to the changes life presents. Persistence. Resilient people do not give up easily. Despite failures or obstacles, they continue working toward their goals with determination and commitment. Optimism. Although they face difficulties, resilient people tend to have a positive outlook on life. They focus on solutions instead of getting stuck in problems. Support network. Resilient people usually have a strong support network, whether friends, family, or colleagues, who offer encouragement and advice during difficult times. The role of emotions in resilience. Shetty explains that emotions are a natural part of human life and that we should not suppress or ignore what we feel. However, emotions must be managed properly so they don't control us. Emotional resilience is about accepting emotions without being overwhelmed by them. The author emphasizes that negative emotions, such as sadness, anger, or fear, are natural responses to difficulties but should not define our experience. By allowing ourselves to feel these emotions without being dominated by them, we can make more reasoned and wise decisions. Emotions are signals, but they should not be the steering wheel that directs our lives. How to develop emotional resilience. Shetty offers several strategies we can use to develop our emotional resilience. Accept adversity as part of the process. Shetty emphasizes that challenges are an inevitable part of life. The key is to accept that adversity is something we all face at some point and that instead of resisting it, we should learn from it. Acceptance allows us to face difficulties without feeling like victims of circumstances but rather as active participants in our own growth process. Focus on what we can control. When facing difficulties, it's easy to fall into the trap of worrying about everything that is out of our control. Shetty suggests we focus on what we can control, our actions, reactions, and attitudes. By doing so, we regain a sense of empowerment and stop feeling helpless in the face of adversity. Practice self-compassion. Shetty highlights that being kind to ourselves is essential for emotional resilience. Self-compassion involves treating oneself with kindness rather than criticism when things don't go as expected. Self-criticism only fuels guilt and resentment, while self-compassion allows us to learn and grow without condemning ourselves. Foster a growth mindset. Emotional resilience is based on the belief that we can learn and grow from our experiences. Instead of seeing failures as something negative, we should view them as learning opportunities. A growth mindset allows us to take control of our lives and develop even during tough times. Set achievable goals. When going through tough times, it is important to set small, achievable goals that give us a sense of accomplishment. This can range from daily victories, like exercising, to larger goals, such as overcoming a personal challenge. These goals provide motivation and allow us to see progress even when we face obstacles. Seek social support. Shetty underscores the importance of surrounding ourselves with supportive people. Emotional resilience doesn't mean facing difficulties alone. Having a support network, whether it's friends, family, or mentors, can help us overcome adversity more quickly. Emotional support from others can offer a different perspective and help us find solutions to our problems. The role of forgiveness in emotional resilience. A key component of emotional resilience is forgiveness. Shetty explains that holding on to grudges or anger toward others only consumes us emotionally and prevents us from moving forward. Forgiveness does not mean we approve of the other person's behavior, but rather that we release our emotional energy from revenge and resentment. Forgiveness allows us to heal and regain our inner peace. Resilience in the face of change. Shetty also discusses how emotional resilience is essential when we face changes in our lives, such as the loss of a loved one, a breakup, or a job change. Changes, though often difficult, offer us the opportunity to adapt and grow. Resilience enables us to navigate these changes with grace and learn to adjust to new circumstances without losing our emotional stability. Chapter Conclusion. The chapter concludes with a reminder that emotional resilience is not something we are born with, but something we can cultivate over time. By accepting adversity, focusing on what we can control, practicing self-compassion, and seeking support, we can learn to navigate life's challenges with strength and wisdom. Emotional resilience is a vital skill that not only allows us to overcome challenges but also to leverage them for our growth. Chapter 17. Living According to Your Principles in the Modern World. In this chapter, Jay Shetty focuses on the importance of living according to our principles and how we can face external pressures from the modern world without compromising our core values. As life becomes faster and more complex, we often face the temptation to give in to social expectations, superficial success, or distractions that take us away from what truly matters. Shetty invites us to take a firm stand on our principles and live authentically, even if that means going against social currents or external pressures. The importance of principles in modern life. Shetty begins the chapter by explaining that we live in an era where distractions and social expectations constantly bombard us. Social media, digital content consumption, and the culture of comparison make it difficult to stay focused on what we truly value. We are exposed to the idea that happiness and success are defined by external achievements like money, fame, or public recognition. However, Shetty reminds us that what truly matters are the principles that guide our actions and decisions. Living according to our core principles gives us a sense of purpose and authenticity that external expectations cannot offer. Principles act as an internal compass, keeping us focused on what is truly meaningful to us, regardless of what others think. How to identify your core principles. Shetty guides us through an exercise to identify our most important principles. These principles are the values that represent what we value most in life and guide our decisions and behavior. Some examples of principles might include honesty, integrity, family, respect, compassion, or teamwork. To identify our own principles, Shetty invites us to reflect deeply on what really matters to us. What aspects of life make us feel whole and at peace? What are we not willing to sacrifice? By answering these questions, we can begin to recognize the principles that have been fundamental in our lives and that we must follow. The challenge of living authentically in the modern era. One of the biggest challenges we face when trying to live according to our principles is social pressure. Shetty points out that we are constantly exposed to others' expectations, whether through social media, the workplace, or personal relationships. Often, these pressures lead us to compromise our principles in search of approval or acceptance from others. Modern society often tells us that in order to succeed, we must conform to its norms, even if those norms are not aligned with what we believe. Shetty encourages us to resist external pressure and stay true to who we are and what we truly value. By doing so, we can build a fuller, more authentic life, rather than living according to others' expectations. For many, how to make decisions aligned with your principles. Shetty offers practical advice on how to make decisions aligned with our principles. The key is to be aware of what truly matters and to make decisions from that place of wisdom. When facing an important decision, we should ask ourselves, is this decision in line with my values? Does it bring me closer to my purpose and what I want to achieve in life? Will this decision make me feel at peace with myself in the long term? By answering these questions, we can ensure that our decisions are aligned with our principles and that we are building a life that reflects who we truly want to be. The role of integrity. Shetty also highlights the importance of integrity as an essential quality for living according to our principles. Integrity means being honest with ourselves and others, even when no one is looking. A lack of integrity can lead us to make decisions that don't resonate with our values and to feel guilt or dissatisfaction. Living with integrity means keeping our word, being transparent, and acting in alignment with our values, even when circumstances are difficult. The influence of environment. The environment we live in plays a fundamental role in our ability to live according to our principles. Shetty reminds us that, although we cannot fully control the people or situations around us, we can choose our environment and the relationships that support and reinforce us on our path toward an authentic life. It is important to surround ourselves with people who share our values and inspire us to move forward with our decisions. By being surrounded by positive support, we can stay true to our principles without feeling isolated or pressured by those who do not understand our vision. The importance of self-reflection. Shetty encourages us to practice regular self-reflection to ensure that we are living according to our principles. Self-reflection helps us stay focused on what truly matters and to adjust our decisions when we stray from our path. This involves stopping and taking stock of our lives to evaluate if our actions are aligned with our values. The impact of living according to our principles. Shetty concludes the chapter by highlighting the positive impact that living according to our principles has on our inner peace and overall well-being. When we make decisions aligned with what we truly value, we experience a greater sense of purpose, self-esteem, and satisfaction. Living authentically allows us to build deeper relationships, maintain our integrity, and move toward a fuller and more conscious life. Moreover, living according to our principles inspires others to do the same, creating a positive ripple effect in our communities and the world at large. Chapter conclusion. In this chapter, Shetty reminds us that living according to our principles is not an easy task, especially in a world filled with external pressures. However, by identifying what we truly value and making decisions aligned with our principles, we can build a more authentic and fulfilling life. The author invites us to be brave in following our principles, resist social expectations, and trust that living in alignment with our true essence is the path to a full and meaningful life. Chapter 18. True Wealth, Finding Satisfaction in What You Have. In this chapter, Jay Shetty delves into the concept of wealth, but from a different perspective than the conventional one. Rather than focusing on the accumulation of material goods, Shetty invites us to redefine true wealth, suggesting that it comes from finding satisfaction and fulfillment in what we already have, including our relationships, experiences, and mental health. In a world obsessed with consumption and constant economic growth, this chapter invites us to reflect on how internal well-being and gratitude are the true indicators of wealth. The pursuit of material wealth. Shetty begins the chapter by addressing how modern society defines wealth primarily through material well-being, such as money, property, and material goods. From a young age, we are conditioned to believe that wealth is directly associated with the accumulation of possessions. However, the author points out that while these things can provide comfort, they do not guarantee a fulfilling life or give us a true sense of satisfaction. Shetty explains that in our pursuit of material wealth, we often fall into the trap of thinking that having more will make us happier. However, people who accumulate material wealth without a deep understanding of what truly matters often end up feeling dissatisfied or empty. Shetty invites us to reflect on the true meaning of wealth and how we can find fulfillment without depending on what we own. Redefining true wealth. The author offers a new definition of wealth, one focused not on what we have, but on how we feel about what we have. According to Shetty, true wealth comes from finding satisfaction in the small things and in everyday experiences, such as relationships, health, and personal growth. True wealth, therefore, is a matter of perspective. If we learn to appreciate what we have instead of constantly seeking more, we can live with fullness and happiness. This does not mean we should reject material prosperity, but rather that we should adjust our expectations and understand that true satisfaction does not come from accumulation. The connection between satisfaction and gratitude. Shetty emphasizes that one of the most powerful paths to true wealth is gratitude. Gratitude allows us to appreciate what we have, rather than focusing on what we lack. Practicing gratitude helps shift our mindset from scarcity to abundance. When we are grateful, we recognize that, although we may not have everything we want, we already have enough to be happy. Shetty suggests practicing gratitude daily, whether by writing in a gratitude journal or simply taking a moment to reflect on what we truly value in life. This will help us change our mindset and, at the same time, cultivate greater satisfaction with our lives. The wealth of human relationships. One of the most significant aspects of true wealth, according to Shetty, is human relationships. We live in a culture that often values individual success and the accumulation of material goods, but Shetty argues that deep and authentic relationships are, in fact, one of the greatest assets we can have. The author reminds us that human connection is essential to our happiness and well-being. Relationships with family, friends, and loved ones provide us with a sense of belonging and support that material wealth cannot offer. Shetty encourages us to invest time and energy in cultivating genuine relationships and to value the people who truly matter in our lives. The impact of mental and emotional health. True wealth is also related to our mental and emotional health. Shetty reminds us that inner well-being is essential to enjoying life, regardless of external circumstances. While money and material goods can help us lead a comfortable life, true satisfaction comes from inner peace, emotional balance, and the ability to manage our emotions. The author suggests that we should dedicate time to care for our mental health, whether through meditation, exercise, meaningful conversations, or self-care. Cultivating a positive mental state is essential to experiencing a life of emotional abundance. The importance of living with purpose. Shetty also highlights that living with purpose is essential to true wealth. Living in alignment with our values and principles provides us with a deep sense of satisfaction, as it allows us to feel that we are contributing to something greater than ourselves. When we have a clear purpose, our life becomes filled with motivation and meaning, which helps us face challenges with a positive attitude. The author encourages us to reflect on what truly inspires us and calls us to action so we can build a life that aligns with our deepest values. Wealth is not just what you have, but who you are. Shetty concludes the chapter by pointing out that true wealth is not measured by what we have, but by who we are. The quality of our relationships, the inner peace we cultivate, and our ability to live authentically are what truly define our wealth. Living in accordance with our principles, practicing gratitude, and caring for our emotional health are the foundations of a rich and fulfilling life. Shetty invites readers to redefine wealth in their own lives, understanding that what truly matters is not material goods, but the experiences, relationships, and inner peace we cultivate. By living with gratitude and purpose, we can find true wealth that will allow us to live a life full of meaning. Chapter 19. Transforming Everyday Life into a Path Toward Purpose. In this chapter, Jay Shetty invites us to reflect on how our daily actions, no matter how small, can become an expression of our purpose. Often, everyday life may seem monotonous or meaningless, but Shetty shows us that by living with purpose, every activity can become an opportunity to grow, learn, and contribute to the well-being of others. Rather than waiting for a major change or revelation to feel we are on the right path, Shetty encourages us to seek purpose in the ordinary, transforming our daily routines into meaningful moments. The connection between purpose and daily action. Shetty begins the chapter by explaining that purpose is not something distant or abstract, but can be experienced in our daily actions. Often, we think that in order to live with purpose, we need to do great things or achieve extraordinary milestones, but purpose is not always found in grand moments. In fact, Shetty emphasizes that we find it in small actions and in how we choose to live each day. The author underscores that purpose aligns with our daily actions, and if we live according to our values in every aspect of our lives, we transform our routines into a path toward purpose. Even the simplest tasks, like exercising, preparing a meal, or helping someone, can become expressions of our purpose, as long as we do them with intention and awareness. The power of intention in the everyday. One of the key concepts Shetty introduces is the idea of living with intention. Living with intention means being conscious of what we do and why we do it. Instead of simply going through automatic routines, we should ask ourselves what we want to achieve with each action and how we can align them with our values. For example, when starting the day, we can set the intention to be kind, be present, or learn something new. Each task or interaction, from the simplest to the most complex, becomes an opportunity to fulfill that intention. This practice transforms the ordinary into something meaningful and keeps us focused on what truly matters. Finding purpose in small things. Shetty also encourages us to seek purpose in the small things, the ones we often overlook. This can include simple activities like taking a walk, enjoying a meal, or even talking with a friend. Often, we focus so much on achieving big goals that we forget that purpose can also be found in everyday moments. By finding purpose in the ordinary, we realize that every daily action has value. This approach not only helps us feel more fulfilled, but it also allows us to live more fully. Shetty highlights that by observing with attention, we can find deep lessons and meanings even in the simplest moments of life. The importance of perseverance. Shetty emphasizes that perseverance is a key element in living with purpose. Sometimes, it's easy to lose sight of our purpose when things get tough or when daily tasks seem repetitive and tedious. However, Shetty reminds us that it's the constant commitment to our purpose that truly propels us forward and helps us grow. Perseverance gives us the strength to continue, even when the path seems uncertain. Everyday life may be full of challenges, but it is through persistence that we find meaning and purpose in every action. By staying committed to our goals and values, we transform our difficulties into opportunities to learn and grow. Finding purpose in relationships. Another fundamental aspect Shetty highlights is the importance of relationships in our daily lives. Relationships, whether familial, romantic, friendly, or work-related, are a key source of purpose. By deeply connecting with others, we are fulfilling a greater purpose than the individual as we contribute to mutual well-being and growth. Shetty suggests that in every relationship, we can make a conscious effort to listen and support others so that our interactions become more meaningful. By giving of ourselves in our relationships, we strengthen our sense of purpose and enrich our lives. The practice of self-care as part of purpose. Shetty also points out that self-care is an important aspect of living with purpose. It's not just about being productive or giving to others, but also about ensuring we take care of ourselves. Self-care is not a luxury, but an essential part of living consciously and in balance. By integrating self-care into our daily routine, we can find space to recharge and stay focused on what truly matters. Whether through meditation, exercise, or simply taking a break, self-care enables us to be more effective in our pursuit of purpose. Gratitude as a driver of purpose. Shetty also highlights the power of gratitude in keeping us connected to our purpose. Practicing gratitude helps us appreciate each moment and reminds us that purpose is not only found in grand achievements but also in daily blessings. Gratitude helps us recognize what we already have and appreciate the process, rather than obsessing over the final destination. The constant practice of gratitude strengthens our connection to what truly matters, allowing us to live with greater clarity and purpose. By being grateful for what we have and what we've achieved, we fill ourselves with motivation and energy to keep moving forward. Chapter Conclusion. In this chapter, Shetty reminds us that purpose is not reserved only for life's grand events or achievements. Purpose can be found in the everyday, transforming each action, each relationship, and each moment into an opportunity to live according to our values. By living with intention, perseverance, and gratitude, we can find meaning in what we do every day. True purpose is not only found in great goals but in our ability to make the ordinary extraordinary and to live according to what truly matters. If we wish to continue cultivating this purpose in our lives, every small action becomes an opportunity to learn, grow, and contribute to the well-being of others. Chapter 20. Conclusion. Applying monastic teachings for a fuller life. In this final chapter of Think Like a Monk, Jay Shetty summarizes the key teachings of the book and offers a practical guide on how to integrate these principles into our daily lives. He invites us to apply monastic teachings to live with more purpose, clarity, and inner peace. Shetty emphasizes that true transformation doesn't occur when we achieve grand goals, but when we decide to live each day with intention, wisdom, and compassion. This chapter offers essential tools for adopting a deeper and more focused approach in our daily lives, based on monastic principles that allow us to transcend distractions and reach mental peace. Monastic wisdom as a daily guide. Shetty reminds us that monastic teachings are not just reserved for monks or moments of spiritual retreat. In fact, these teachings are incredibly useful for all of us, regardless of our daily lives. Monastic wisdom is based on simple yet powerful principles such as mindfulness, gratitude, detachment, and service to others. When consciously applied, these principles can transform our everyday life, helping us find inner peace and live with purpose. Mindfulness, for example, teaches us to be fully present in each moment, to free ourselves from the noisy mind of the past and future, and to focus on what truly matters. Living with mindfulness allows us to experience life authentically and connectedly, rather than being dragged by external worries and daily pressures. The importance of daily habits. Shetty emphasizes that true change doesn't occur suddenly, but rather gradually through the daily habits we cultivate. Small and consistent habits are the ones that generate the greatest long-term changes. While big goals are important, what truly defines our quality of life is how we live each day. For example, if we cultivate the habit of gratitude daily, our minds begin to focus on what we have, not on what we lack. The constant practice of meditation or reflection allows us to be present and more connected to ourselves, which is crucial for maintaining inner peace. By integrating these habits into our daily lives, we begin to see significant results not only in our mental health but also in our relationships, productivity, and overall well-being. Living with purpose in a chaotic world. Modern life confronts us with a constant avalanche of distractions, often linked to stress and anxiety. We live in a world where we are expected to always be busy, and the culture of instant gratification makes us feel like we always need more to be happy. However, Shetty reminds us that true purpose is not found in accumulation or constant consumption, but in the meaning and purpose we give to our lives, regardless of external circumstances. By adopting a monastic mindset, we can learn to appreciate what we already have, enjoy the present moment, and seek meaning in the ordinary. Monastic teachings invite us to live in harmony with our beliefs, principles, and values. Shetty emphasizes that purpose should not be something distant, but should be integrated into every action we take, whether big or small. Cultivating gratitude for inner peace. One of the monastic principles Shetty highlights is gratitude. Throughout the book, we have seen how gratitude not only changes our perspective but also has a profound impact on our mental health. Practicing gratitude allows us to focus on the positive and on what we have already achieved, rather than falling into the trap of comparing ourselves to others or focusing on what we lack. Shetty explains that cultivating gratitude as a daily practice not only improves our perspective on life but also connects us with a deep sense of abundance. By reflecting on what we already have, from the largest to the smallest things, we begin to transform our mindset and appreciate every aspect of our lives, giving us a sense of peace and balance. Detachment. Letting go of what doesn't serve us. Detachment is another fundamental monastic principle Shetty emphasizes. Living with detachment doesn't mean rejecting the material world or our relationships, but learning not to depend emotionally on things we cannot control. This includes the expectations we have of others, the outcomes of our actions, or the need for external approval. By detaching ourselves from outcomes, Shetty explains that we can free ourselves from anxiety and the fear of failure. When we stop clinging to what we cannot control, we experience a sense of freedom that allows us to live without pressure and with a calmer mind. Detachment enables us to live with flexibility, accept change, and make wiser decisions. Service to others. A path to true wealth. Service is one of the most powerful principles in monastic philosophy. Shetty reminds us that, through serving others, we find meaning and purpose. Living to contribute to the well-being of others not only benefits us but also enriches our relationships and creates a support network that strengthens us. Generosity and service are not limited to grand gestures. They can be small daily acts, such as offering a smile, listening actively to someone, or simply being kind to those around us. By incorporating service to others into our daily life, we connect more deeply with our humanity and contribute to a more compassionate world. Conclusion. Living a life of purpose and inner peace. Shetty concludes the book by reaffirming that living according to monastic principles not only helps us find inner peace but also allows us to build an authentic life full of meaning and connection. By practicing meditation, gratitude, detachment, and service, we transform our perspective and free ourselves from distractions that take us away from what truly matters. Shetty invites us to apply these teachings daily, reminding us that it's not about reaching a perfect end, but about enjoying the process and living with intention at every step of the way. By integrating monastic principles into our lives, we can live with greater clarity, more inner peace, and a deep sense of purpose that guides us in every action, thought, and decision. Final conclusion. With this chapter, Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty comes to an end, but the teachings he has shared will continue to resonate with us. We have learned to free ourselves from stress and anxiety, practice gratitude, live with purpose, and how monastic teachings can guide us toward a more authentic and fulfilling life. Shetty has shown us that the path to a life rich in meaning does not depend on material possessions or fame, but on inner peace, service to others, and living aligned with our principles. By applying these principles daily, we can find the tranquility and satisfaction we all seek, but often eludes us amidst external pressures. Each day is an opportunity to cultivate gratitude, detach from what no longer serves us, and connect deeply with ourselves and others. By doing so, we transform our lives, overcome challenges with resilience, and walk toward a future filled with purpose and well-being. We invite you to continue on this path, applying what you have learned in each daily action so that you can live a fuller, more authentic life and be the best version of yourself. If you enjoyed this journey, we encourage you to keep exploring new ways to grow and learn. Don't forget to subscribe to Audio Mentors for more content on personal growth, well-being, and success in your life. Thank you for joining us on this journey. See you in the next audiobook.